All right, folks, Vitek here from Wani. With us today, we have Cammie of Oceans of Slumber. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Heard the record from yesterday. Obviously, 24 hours is not enough to absorb the beauty behind the Banished Heart. I wanted to start by asking you a very simple question. That you released a single, a music video, and I'm glad that I'm seeing fans seem to be loving the direction you guys are taking on this record. So, how's it been so far? And have you been happy with the feedback?
Yes, we're very happy with the feedback in kind of honing in on this different direction. Obviously, when you make or create anything, that it gets interpreted the way that you want it to is always, satisfying and it's been very well received. Like, we are a darker band and we have a lot more darker emotions and kind of vibes that we want to share, and so it's good that it's gone over well, and that there is a place in the sharing of it that kind of relates with our fans.
True. I can relate to that, and obviously this being the third installment to your already existing catalog, and it's also your heaviest effort, at least to what I've heard so far. Was that sort of a mission that that you set when you started writing for the Banished Heart?
For sure, we had a lot of time and we had a lot of transitions that happened, and we went about the Banished Heart differently than the previous albums. Like, this is all concentrated. It was all it was a very focused sort of output. What we wanted to do is definitely go darker and heavier across the board, musically to really slam it home, and then lyrically to really dive into a sort of unrelenting place. So
right,
for sure.
Awesome, that's really great, and obviously it's a dynamic journey. That there's some of the more epic, lengthy songs. They feel like a journey of their own. For example, the title track itself, "The Banished Heart," feels like a story being told that has a certain beginning. There's a middle section and there is an end. Was that something you guys considered during writing the record?
Yes, the title track, all the rest of the album was sort of written around that, and that encompasses the story in its entirety, the best out of the other songs. The other songs, I feel like, sort of highlight the journey that is the Banished Heart as the album and as the title track, and so with that song, what we did was, we did want to start in a place that felt very strongly isolated, very strongly alone, and very internalized, and then it sort of expands out and it moves across this void into this realm of a more grand and sort of turbulent place, and it bursts through, with all these emotions, and so very much so the Banished Heart is the closest to really grasping the dynamic of the journey that ends up being the whole album.
Absolutely. I always wanted to ask you this question. I mean, I've always had a chat with Dober, but never got a chance to speak to you. It's always been to me that whenever I listen to all the songs that you guys have written since the very first day you were signed to Century Media, I've always felt that the songs, the lyrics, the vibe, they have a lot of personal touch. I don't know whether it's you or Dober or the other guys in the band. There's a lot of personal elements on it. And obviously the world we live has taken a pretty chaotic turn in recent times. What are these events that are leading you to express, make Oceans of Slumber as an outlet to express what you see in the world or what's happening in your life as well?
So for the Banished Heart, I got sort of complete freedom to do the lyrics. It was like my responsibility, and so for this album, it really dove into a lot of sort of bleak places. We had a lot of turbulent things happen for us this year. I've had a lot of emotional struggles in our past life, and with this year, the hurricane happening, relationships ending, and we found ourselves in this place together, and we sort of had to get out of this hole together. And so lyrically, I didn't want to spare the listener from sort of that darkness and those negative aspects that sort of come up. Like, there's plenty of like feel good, feel better songs, and while that can sort of potentially change your mood sometimes when you're in a very critically bad place, it's not going to be enough. You can't just eat sugar and get nutrition. And so what I wanted to do is sort of create a catharsis for these people that are in this bad place, that it's like, if you feel like someone can be there with you, then it makes it easier to feel like you don't have to stay there forever, or that you're not there alone, and that can sort of down the road help you get out of it.
Right.
And so I really wanted this album lyrically to be strong with these themes and these ideas that didn't let up, that really honed in on how dark someone can feel and how mentally anguished you can be, and to kind of be there with them, to be catharsis for that, not just to like force people or force feed people to be like, feel better, here's music to feel better. It's like, here's music that understands where you're at, and you're fine to stay there.
Absolutely, that's very well said. And I know the focus I want to put on in this interlude track called "The Watcher." Now, it sounds to me like an alternative theme for a show like Stranger Things. I don't know, it's just stuck in my mind, because was that anything, or you were listening to, or anything you were watching that triggered some of the writing? It's kind of makes me feel like I'm watching maybe a season 2 of Stranger Things.
I definitely would say we really enjoyed the soundtrack for that show. I actually went I forgot it was a birthday or what holiday came, and I got Dobber the soundtracks on vinyl for Stranger Things.
Nice.
It's funny you say that. But he's always been very heavily into like synth and electronic manipulation and sounds. I know him and Bo, our old keyboard player and synth player, they can talk that stuff like all day. Like they're super techie, and they're sound like wizards, so
right.
Very much, that's sort of like 80s vibe of electronic sound, like Dobber's a master of.
Nice, that's really cool. And obviously the arrangements on the songs are quite complex, they're intricate, and to me it feels like a lot of focus, a lot of attention was given to the structure, the way the songs have been carefully structured. But sometimes it just comes out naturally for let's say for some musicians. How was it for you guys? Or did all these things find their own way, and there you have the song, or you guys focused a lot on making the structure more complicated and intricate?
So I guess I would say yes and no. One thing I've learned in this process is that just as much as a musician is talented in like creating a riff or playing that instrument, like structuring a song is another like skill set. Right. And something that Dobber is incredibly good at is hearing a piece of something from Anthony, or hearing a piece of something from Sean or Keegan, or hearing something from myself, and then taking it and putting it together into the the structure that it ends up being. Like, he has an incredible ear for being like, this doesn't work there, but it's gonna work here. Like, let's hold off on expanding that there and move this here. And a lot of times, we're together and we're jamming, we're hashing things out. He's like, in compartments, it's like, do this, do this, do this. And then at the end of a practice, maybe I don't feel like, I hear the song, but we come back next time and he kind of gives everybody direction of what they should do. And then the song's there, and it's like magic. Nice. It's obviously his masterminding, or it's his talent, but it definitely took him dwelling over it and sitting with it and doing what he does that is a magic I don't fully understand, and structuring the songs out. Like, he's very meticulous and he's very detail oriented, and he approaches them with the gestalt, whereas sometimes, for myself at least, I can only see the details or the parts. Right.
That's really cool.
So a lot of care went into the layout for not just each song, but the album as a whole to move in this way that it does. Like, it's all a singular journey and a singular story with many components and many variables.
Nice. That's very nice. And I've always been a fan of your vocals, and it always evokes a sense of a good feeling while listening to all those minute, subtle variations in your voice. And I hear that on this record. You're much more prominent, and you're much more cemented this time on this record. Performance is absolutely awesome. How was it for you on this record in general, like in terms of growing as a musician and as someone who's behind the mic, just giving the best performance as much as possible?
What I really enjoyed about working on this album was the elements of getting to be more soulful and getting to sort of bring and share some of our southern undertones and our southern upbringing. I have a love for southern gospels and the southern gothic motif that can be found in in our culture here. And so to kind of get to do everything from being soft and serene and eerie to belting and heavy and that louder sort of expression, like it was very satisfying to approach, and it was very exciting to approach. There were no rules on what I was allowed to do, and so I really tried to do it all and to push. Everything was about getting these emotions out for myself and to kind of share and do this thing that nothing needed to be left inside. It's like a purging,
express everything,
so to speak.
Right, that's really cool. And Wayfaring Stranger, I mean, a piece that kind of comes across like a traditional song, or let me say, more like a poem. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, for sure. What's unique about Wayfaring Stranger is it's one of those songs that no one knows where it came from. It's so old, and it's sort of a gospel. It very much is a gospel song here. And it's been covered by a lot of people, and I know some people are like, "Oh, it's a Johnny Cash song," but it's much older than that, right. and it's so old, and it has so many variations. Like nobody knows where it came from, but it's ingrained in kind of the places that you go here and different people. And so for us to do it, it really colored over the ending to the album perfectly, and it grasped it really tied it together. And when we came up with like using it was instantly like, yes, perfect. And so that was early on. It's like we finished it with this song, and it's like, yes, and it was one of the things like very easily solidified.
Absolutely. You'll be touring with Epica next year. Obviously, you're announced for their special show in Tilburg in the month of April.
Yes.
So where else would you be touring with this record next year?
For right now, that's what we have solidified. I know we're looking at doing some summer festivals and end of the year festivals, but I can't say any more dates right now.
But I hope you guys get to
I know there's lots in the
tour
works.
states sometime next year. I'm sure your fan base is slowly increasing.
That's definitely the plan, to do a U.S. run. I know we just don't have dates solidified, but for sure to get around, and we miss our U.S. fans as well.
Indeed, and again, you're making me wait, sitting here in India, wanting you to come here and play, but I don't know when is that going to happen.
Yeah, that's a tough one to work on.
Absolutely, but I hope you guys get to come sooner or later, because slowly bands are coming over here, fan base is increasing on day per day basis, so sooner or later I'm sure I'm going to see you guys here.
For sure.
So in conclusion, if you had to sum up the record in just one sentence, what would you say?
In one sentence, that the Banished Heart is a Southern Gothic and a tale of two souls finding each other in the darkness.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Cammie, thanks a lot. Good luck with the release. People, and I'm sure fans, have months to wait, and I'm really glad I was able to hear your album. It's going to be on loop for me for the next couple of weeks, and it's surely going to be a memorable one. So thanks once again for the great music.
Thank you.
Take care. I'm going to catch you on road soon. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. See ya.
Bye bye.